Hi, what's up? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching the Sit Down. Look who's here. It's Bill Pullman.
Oh, good to be here,
The
DJ.
Sinner.
Yeah.
Back at it.
Sinner, I see him back here.
What's up, man?
Nice
Good to meet you.
See you.
Yeah, what's it like looking at this guy?
Oh, I see he's looking at me. So watch yourself, Pullman. I gave cast and crew a present, little mug or something that has a Dorchester Police badge on it. And then I hand wrote, "Behave yourselves," which I think is a good reminder in the world of the sinner. You know, just better behave yourself.
There's
best you
some
can.
subliminal messages with that one there.
Yeah.
And plus, like, people are looking to you at the set, like they want to know how to set the tone. You do it with the mug right there.
Right. Yeah, they get the mug at the end if they
live up to it
all the way through. Yeah.
So what's this experience been like? Because like you've done a bunch of movies, done TV before. What separates this one for you?
Well, you know what? I have never done a TV show that repeated. I've done limited series before, and I did 1600 Pen. That that was 13 episodes, and for me, I was that was canceled, and I was thinking, well, great, we got it.
We're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
I realized, oh, people like it when it goes 5 years, I guess. Most, actors who really grow up with television, and that's being part of a show like that was a really strong aspiration, and I just missed that somehow. It's my fault. I should have been watching more TV, but I didn't really. But this one, I'm so glad the way this has worked out. It feels like unbelievable at my stage of the game to get a chance to work with so many good actors, because it rotates every year, into different cast and different circumstance. But and a writer, producer that I really admire and respect, and feels like we're he's taking a lot of things that come from our discussions and my life and everything, and integrating.
That's important.
Yeah,
it keeps it fresh. Also, bringing some new people in there, I would imagine.
Yeah,
doesn't just get stale after season.
No. It's hard on him, because I think that people never think about. Because he has to kind of get a whole new cast into the groove.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing.
Not that easy. That's why you think about some of these police shows. They get the team and they get it going, and then they turn it over to other people, and they go on to other projects. But Derrick really's got to stay with it, with this. But so far, he's really enjoyed it. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what surprised you the most about playing this role? Like, what didn't you anticipate when you first took the job?
Well, I didn't realize that that my interest in it would climb, as I thought that would be the thing that I was afraid of in myself, that my interest would decrease, and you're signed up for 5-7 years.
Right, you're like, oh boy, this isn't so good.
That'd be...
that would suck, yeah.
Do you ever get tired of your job, DJ?
Listen, there are days it's a job, man. There's the days where it's a struggle, but I get to talk to people like you, so I enjoy it.
Oh, good.
It keeps
so
it
you
fresh.
might go 5-6 years, maybe.
We'll see how long it goes, but I totally get what you're saying. It's like you start doing something, you don't like it necessarily, like, oh crap. But with this show, it seems like it's fresh. You like the people, and the storylines just keep on developing and developing.
Yeah, this the character, and because he has an evolution. It's not just like he goes from zero every time. It's gathering, so it's getting, in a way, kind of more closer to the bone on a lot of things. In terms of putting in play things that we want to, Derrick's thing is that we want to be authentic in what we talk about. So we're dealing a lot with people who have undergone trauma sometimes in the first 2 seasons. And this one is kind of different in that it's someone who really is trying to find out some big questions in his journey that makes him somewhat unstable and maybe dangerous. But he's at the edge of life. What do you learn? When you're close to death, what do you learn about living? And what do we need to remember about living more often than we do? That kind of thing, who gets to do that in a TV procedural crime show?
Yeah, that definitely doesn't usually happen in those types of shows.
Yeah, it's really... So I feel lucky that it's ended up being this way as opposed to what I was fearing.
Yeah. It's funny how the anticipation for something can build up, and then you start doing it, and you're like, oh, this is completely different from what I thought. There was nothing to be afraid of, right?
Yeah. There's a different kind of. You have to be ready to go a distance. You shoot for 4.5 months,
Right.
And 8 episodes isn't. I'm wondering how I'd do on one of those 24 episodes.
Oh man, I can't even imagine. Eight's a sweet number. That's perfect.
8's great.
Yeah, but those network shows, 20, 22, 25, I mean, you do it for 8, 10 seasons, you're like, wow. Like, we had Joe Mantegna here, and he's done Criminal Minds for, over 300 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, that's a
God.
whole chapter of your life right there. It's like 10 plus years.
How's he feeling about it?
Well, it's finally coming to an end, so I think he's excited to be moving on.
He gets to talk about
At
it.
a certain point, it's like, this has been great, but it's like, it's a beast.
Yeah. That is a huge. Well, he probably all the way along going, well, I'm a theater guy. I'm used to 8 shows a week. In theater, it's a really, you get a discipline that's useful and how to keep it awake and alive. And you get a bad review and you still got to play it for 2 months.
Right. Or the audience doesn't take to one of your jokes or what they're feeling with it can be totally different from night to night. And you've done that with the theater stuff in your life.
Yep. And some days you get the bear, and other days the bear gets you. No matter how you try it. But and it's like that with series. You even something you're really engaged with and you're really on top of. You feel like you're prepared, and then something happens, and a day is like really struggle to keep your game together and everything. So, but. I always think that other actors have it down better than I do, and that I'm at risk and
still figuring it out.
Still figuring it out, but then you work with some. Now I'm working with a bunch of actors who've done some things, and you realize it's just such the nature of the game. Partially, because it's so unpredictable. Weather, crew problems, camera problems, lighting problems. Those things are always not necessarily in your rhythm, and so staying awake to it. We did the first 2 seasons in the summer, and this season was in the fall, and it ended in December. And this show ends up a lot in the woods.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in the woods.
A lot of stuff going on in the woods, and in December they're cold woods. That snow and
doesn't feel
rain
great out there
and everything. So you have those added things. It's your mud. So it was kind of took a lot more, and Matt's part, Matt Bomer's has really complicated character that ends up, really pushing it to the limit, and I think that. But there's nothing like the East Coast to kind of build character.
Right, that cold air into your bones.
Yeah. Just today, coming in here, I'm reminded it's not California.
No, definitely not California.
No.
And this is like mild right now
this
compared
is
to
mild.
what it could be.
It's really, not bad, but still different.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've done some stuff in your career. I mean, you've been at this game for a while. When I think about you, obviously Independence Day comes to mind. I mean, that movie made over $800 million. Like, that was an insane box office hit.
And for its time.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing SNL. Like, what do you remember at that point in your career, just about how the whole thing blew up?
Yeah, it was really surprise, and it has been a thing that has meant a lot to people, about not just as an entertaining movie. There's something about the message of it, and even though it was kind of had a popcorn thing, it was Saturday matinee movie kind of, and hard to remember the context of when it came out, but in that time there had never really been like a heroic lead character that was a president of the United States.
Yeah, that was a big deal at that point.
Yeah. I think most of it was, the president, either you don't see the president's over his shoulder when he says a few things. Or
in the Oval Office. Yeah. Not getting up on a car and making a speech for thousands of people. Different, right?
Yeah, really getting into a fighter jet and, going and putting on the helmet.
That must have been cool, that whole experience, right?
Yeah, it was really, but it was, at that point, science fiction didn't really even mean as much to popular culture as it was just growing, and now it's like such a it's really a dominant kind of genre, you know, science fiction and comic books and stuff like that. But at that point, we were a wild card. I remember when we made it, you know, we were not expected to have the success we did. You know, there was, you know, what are the top 20 movies of the summer? In January, we weren't on that list.
Wow.
So, but fortunately, people like seeing the White House being blown up.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Once that made the ad, wow,
what does that mean today? Yeah.
I want to see this movie.
Yeah, it's really become like a 4th of July tradition in a lot of senses.
Yeah. That's can't get away from it. But yeah, and I think it's you know, to have a chance to work with those it's such an interesting crew and everything. But yeah, and then you know, I've always my accordion career, you know, goes down to things I enjoy, the really small things as well. You know, I was really glad to be part of Dark Waters, the movie you came out with recently. And it didn't, you know, it's an ensemble, or I'm part of the ensemble. Mark Ruffalo is the lead. It's a great, important movie, and I love being part of that too. So.
Yeah, it's cool that you can have those little moments that you can look back on. There've been a lot of good ones. Like A League of Their Own is another movie where it's like, didn't expect that to be a big box office hit, but like has some legs after the fact.
A lot of legs.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't
people are
that
still talking about it.
They really follow that.
Like, what was the pitch to you at that point? I mean, making a movie about women playing baseball certainly couldn't have been popular at that point.
Yeah. Penny Marshall is a really
the late Penny
interesting
Marshall,
person, you know, and she, you know, she showbiz, and her brother being so, you know, Gary Marshall, so, you know, there's a kind of interesting wisdom that come from them, and so the movie had Madonna in it, and Gina Davis, and all these people.
Rosie O'Donnell was in there.
Rosie O'Donnell was in there.
And of course, Tom Hanks is the manager, and you've worked with him a couple times. So yeah, great cast.
It was good group. Yeah. But I never thought that it'd be for female athletics.
Right.
And, you know, for women that play softball or baseball, you know, they obsessively, that movie is the flag to fly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So if people haven't checked out The Sinner, what are some big things you want them to be thinking about when they check out this season?
Well, I think, you know, there's, it has some surprises. I think, you know, there's, I think some of what it wants to say about human nature is something that you know, that I think is intriguing when you think about what we don't know about ourselves.
Right.
And you think of what sometimes the left hand doesn't always admit what the right hand is doing, and in a kind of, there's this interesting kind of empathy for these people. So I think it's, rather than demonizing them and saying that, oh, we got a bad guy out there, we got to find him out because he's so terrible, and we got to take him out. And you know, this is a lot more layered and suggesting that what we see in certain behavior we may actually have in ourselves.
Perfectly said. Bill, nice to meet you, man.
Good
Thanks
to
so
meet
much.
you.
Check
TJ.
this guy on The Sinner. You won't be disappointed. For Bill, I'm DJ. See you next time here on the Sit Down.